Hi everyone. 5th of January today. It's actually not turned out to be a too bad day. The forecast for the next 2 weeks is pretty wet and pretty windy, but I can't complain really. I thought it was about time I did a little bit of an introduction about my channel and what sort of content I'm going to be putting up on here. So I would describe myself as a cut flower and gardening enthusiast. I love gardening, love growing flowers, and in more recent times I've really got into growing cut flowers in a designated cut flower patch. So we moved to this property about 7 years ago, and when we moved here it didn't have any adjoining land or paddocks or anything. It had a garden. It had a nice sized garden, to the point where I actually put half of that garden for my pygmy goats. And I even allowed my sheep to graze in the garden, which I can tell you now they wouldn't be allowed in there now. But the garden didn't really have anything in it. It had a few really mature fuchsia shrubs and a few roses. It was a lot of weeds and not really even any flower beds. So I actually did all of that from scratch. And then more recently, we acquired the paddock, well, not the whole paddock, but part of the paddock adjoining the property, which meant that I was able to have a greenhouse and put in an area specifically for growing cut flowers, which is great because I didn't really like cutting flowers from my garden. The garden is to be enjoyed as a garden, and the cutting patch is to be treated. You treat it more like an area for growing vegetables. It's a productive area, not a pretty area, if that makes sense. So I grow cut flowers for friends, family, and I sell cut flowers as well. I have done a floristry business module, and I've done a few small floristry courses, but this is not my income or how I make my living. This is really a hobby. So please don't watch these videos and think that by doing things how I do them, that's the way to make lots of money from growing flowers. I am not a flower farmer, okay? I love flower farming videos and I love all the books and things like that, but that's not what I am. This is everything on a much smaller scale. I do have plans to extend my cutting patch, but even when I extend it, it's still going to be on a really small scale. So let's go and have a look at what the cutting patch looks like today, and then I'll put in a few clips of what it's looked like in the past, because I have reconfigured this area so many times just because I got carried away in the beginning, watching too many videos, reading too many books, and I should have just stuck with a plan and gone with it. But anyway, we've got where we are now. Let's go and have a look. Okay, I just wanted to give you an idea of the exposed site I'm on first of all. So we're looking behind the cutting patch at the moment, and you can see the wind really can whistle along here. There's not enough trees or hedgerows, things like that. So that is something I'm going to have to look into at some point. Okay, so here it is. It is January, so it is a mess. It doesn't always look like this, but it's an area of 8 by 15 metres. So we'll go in and take a look. Okay, and this is the plan for the future. So you can see I've started Okay, so this is an area that we're going to extend into. So there's the 8 by 15 metres there, and this is at the back, and this has just been grazing for my animals. You can see I've already started making a mess. Piles of compost, piles of cut down vegetation. And I'm going to configure it a little bit differently out here. I think I'm going to make the paths a little bit wider. So I sort of have my own strange method of making beds from scratch, which I might do a little video on, but here's one that I've finished. Essentially what I do is I turn the turf. You see I've just started this one, and then I don't use any cardboard or anything. I just put a thick layer of mulch on top of that, and I will get the odd tufts of grass for the first year, but nothing really significant. So I haven't even worked out how many beds I'm going to put in here, but I'm definitely going to have the paths in between a lot wider. You can see that, and that's because I mean, it is really, unfortunately, you can hear my feet squelching, and you can see the water. We are really wet here, so I think I'm going to have to put down some type of path. But for the first year, I would be quite happy just to keep it as grass, but I'm really not sure with how wet it is out here if that's going to work. Just to give you a different angle, the extended area is on the other side of the fence there. Okay, so the area is divided into 11 beds. Each of them is a metre wide. I'll just stand down the end of one of them. Okay, so 1 metre by 6 metres. That's the size of each of the beds. This end bed will go eventually, and that will be a wide path into the extended area on the other side of the fence there. Got one long bed down this side, which is mainly raspberries. This is where my sweet peas were. This is mainly bulbs. This was the autumn sown annuals. This was biennials, a few foxgloves, wallflowers haven't done very well. A few campanula, dianthus didn't do very well. So here are some nice apricot foxgloves, not very many unfortunately. My little nigella seedlings that will get thinned out in the spring. A sea of Greek cress, that's not what was sown in here, so a bit of a shame, but never mind. Okay, so here we've got Geum. This one's one I grew from seed. It's a yellow one, Lady Stratton, I think. And I've got a couple that I bought, which this foxglove's actually encroaching, which are Mai Tai. They're quite short stemmed, but I love the colour. Got some lamb's ear here, some sea holly. This is the Aqualesia patch, which it's because it's winter. Let me find one. Here we are. They are still there. There's one there. Yeah, there's another one there. And then Verbena Boreensis. Do you know what? I didn't really use any of that this year, but never mind, it's there. Feverfoo, Achillea, looking a bit ropey. Some wild foxgloves, so the pink, some more feverfoo in there. Hesperus, Sweet Rocket. This is all the purple. This will all be dug up after it flowers this year because this bed will go then. And then dianthus, mix of colours. Thyme. I've got euphorbia here. Some self-seeded candy tuft as well. Toadflax. That's the purple. I've got loose strife in here, but again, because the winter, it's pretty much died down to not very much. One poppy there. Not very successful at growing Icelandic poppies. Oregano. And these were my Sahara Rudbeckia. I've got bronze fennel there. Sage, which is really strong smell, but you know, in the late end of the season, fantastic colour. More oregano, more agastache. Again, it's a bit the wrong time of year, but you can actually see some quite nice new growth on that one there. This is a mix of, I think there's a white and then a few purples. Pretty sure this should be tulips, but the label seems to have gone there. Oh, here we've got a label here. So this is tulips. This is one called Showcase. I'll try and pop a picture up so you can see that. Creme Upstar. And then Apricot Favourite. And then I've got a mixed parrot. So that's my tulips. Got a few self-sown things here. There's an Aquilegia there, foxglove, a few weeds, and then some Basilia here, which would be brilliant. I know a lot of people grow it as a green manure, but I love this as a cut flower, so they'll get rowed up somewhere in the spring. But you know, they're not doing any harm staying where they are for now over the winter. Oh, and there's some more here. I do like it when you find little self-sown treats. This was my Ami Majors in here, and Cerinthe, but we had a really hard frost and it looks a bit upset. But I see I've got some Aquilegia in here as well, and no need to panic about the Ami because I've got a tray in the cold frame which is still okay. Casmasia, I'll put a picture on the screen. And here are the alliums. It's the white one, Neopole grandiforum. Okay, that's interesting. And then here we've got little self-sown calendula coming up just there. But this is actually some very late put in daffodils, red Devon and Great Leap. Okay, so here is my cold frame. So let's have a look and see what we've got in here. If I can get the cover off. Oh dear, everything in here is very wet. Oh dear, we've had a lot of rain. There's a lot of really wet stuff in here. So there's my little Ami that's been in here. Some more Nigella, they're really wet now. Some salvia, some ranunculus, some poor seedlings that should have been potted on really. I don't think they're going to do anything other than die. Some more ranunculus and some tiny teeny snapdragons. I'm favouring my cold frame a lot this year because my greenhouse gets so much condensation and then so much dampening off. So using the Enviromesh on here keeps a bit more airflow, but it does mean things get a bit wetter. There's a poor little robin in the greenhouse to try and get him out. Well, I failed miserably on getting the robin out of the greenhouse. He's still in here, but I'll have another go in a minute. I know that tour is not a great time of year to look at a cut flower patch because everything has died down and it's not looking great. But hopefully we'll be able to get on with some seed sowing soon, and look forward to the year ahead. We'll just have a little look in the greenhouse. There's not a lot in here. So I've got my sweet pea there. That's a mix called Royal Family. A few calendula, some stock. There's not really very much else in the greenhouse at the moment. I will be starting some more seeds soon, but I do start a lot of those in my house, largely due to the fact that even if I open the door to the greenhouse, there's just so much condensation in here and I have a lot of problems with things dampening off. But I do always fill the greenhouse a little bit later on in the spring, so don't worry, it will be full soon. We can do a full greenhouse tour when we get some stuff sprouting away. Thanks very much for watching my little introduction video. I've got lots more ideas for videos coming up, so I'll see you on the next video.